have, our special use permit was approved in January of this year, so I'm just here to update on some of the progress we've made over this past year. So just as a reminder, we're working on a 90 megawatt project down in the southern portion of Nelson County. Our current construction start date is targeted for September of 2028, and then we'll be commercially operable in November of 2029. Just flagging, this is a little bit different than what I think we presented during the permitting process. Most of that is because we are going through the interconnection agreement phase with the utility. We can't turn the solar project on unless we have an interconnection agreement with the local utility who is building the infrastructure for our project. So they've told us after a few studies we received this year that they will be able to complete our upgrades until no earlier than November of 2029. So that's the earliest that we'll be able to complete the project. So that's the explanation for the little bit of a delay here. But our final interconnection agreement is scheduled to be issued in a couple days, and then we're expected to sign it here in the beginning of 2026. And this is a really big milestone for solar projects. Like I mentioned, we can't do anything without an interconnection agreement between the utility and the Regional Transmission Organization, PJM. For context, we've been in this process since 2020, and we're just finally getting to our final agreement in 2020. I just wanted to remind everybody, this is the design that was submitted as our preliminary design as part of our SUP, and then as part of a lot of the diligence we've been doing well, and then you'll see a lot of little red dots on there, which I'll get into in a little bit more detail on another slide, but there are some historical mining features on site. So we've shifted some panels to completely avoid any of those potential mining features. And is our old design, but we've committed to some extensive vegetative buffers. So as our design changes, those commitments are staying the same. So a lot of that dark green is still gonna be there. We plan on keeping the existing vegetative buffer as it exists to buffer and screen the project as much as possible. The list of studies there, during our application, we used a lot of desktop studies, but since that time we've completed a lot of field studies. So we've done phase 1 LiDAR, wetland delineation, as I showed, and then, as I mentioned previously, those mine features on that previous map. So those are from an historic iron ore mine. One of our studies picked that up. It's from the late 1870s process that we anticipated with the state because the Virginia DEQ deemed the site a brownfield because of the historic mining. So the brownfield definition by Virginia is real property, the expansion or redevelopment or reuse, which may be complicated by the presence or potential presence of a hazardous substance, pollutant, or contaminant. So the mine here complicates our development, and therefore the Virginia DEQ deemed it as a brownfield. So our permit by rule process was a little bit expedited. However, we still maintain committed to coordinating with all of the sister agencies of Virginia, so the Conservation and Recreation Department, Department of Historic Resources, and Department of Wildlife Resources. We're still communicating with them and making sure we're getting their sign-offs and approvals through this process, as you typically would have during a normal permit by rule process. The permit that we're in the process of right now is the Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity.